The flowing river never stops, and yet the water never stays the same. Foam floats upon the pools, scattering, reforming, never lingering long. So it is with man and all his dwelling places here on earth. The notion of impermanence, the idea that nothing in this world remains the same, has been pondered by many for centuries. We see this in Western philosophy, but it's quite prominent in Eastern philosophy and Buddhism. Hojoki by Kamo no Chomei is an extraordinary literary work that serves as a meditation on the impermanence of the world and the danger of attachment. He utilizes houses and dwellings as a metaphor for impermanence, attachment, and desire throughout the work. He also explores human suffering, as well as the cruelty and beauty of nature, while seeking the true way to live. With that in mind, allow me to walk us through Hojoki by Kamo no Chomei. Hojoki opens by observing the impermanence that we can see in nature, and Chomei repeatedly compares people in their houses to ponder how transitory everything is. Great houses fade away, to be replaced by lesser ones. Thus too, those who live in them. A house and its master are like the dew that gathers on the morning glory. Which will be the first to pass? Chomei then spends a good portion of the essay talking about the various calamities he witnessed in his lifetime. Fire, whirlwind, moving of the capital, plague, famine, and earthquake. He saw the city and people of Kyoto devastated by these disasters over the years, seeing brutal forces of nature and human suffering firsthand. But what struck Chomei the most was neither of those things. He was very observant of how people acted during and after all the tragedies, and realized how toxic attachment failed them time after time. Both the rich and poor were harmed by these tragedies, regardless of their social status, because fires and whirlwinds do not choose their victims. Here, Chomei noticed how foolish it is for us to pursue social status. When the plague and famine hit the city at the same time, material possessions and money had almost no value at all, while grains were worth more than gold. Here, Chomei realized how foolish it is for us to pursue material wealth. He also noticed that once the calamity had passed, everyone around him seemed to have forgotten about the tragic events and continued to pursue the same things in life: wealth, fancy clothes, nice houses, and social status. After witnessing all these disasters in a span of just 8 years, Chomei starts to question society and humanity as a whole, and meditates on the various dilemmas and challenges of life. Men of means have much to fear. Those with none know only bitterness. If you entrust yourself to the care of others, you will be owned by them. If you care for others, you will be enslaved by your own solicitude. If you conform to the world, it will bind you hand and foot. If you do not, then it will think you mad. So I ask myself, where in this world should one live, and how? Where can one find rest and peace in their heart? In search of answers to his questions, Chomei turns his back on society at the age of 50 to take refuge in a mountain. He takes DIY and minimalism to the next level by building a small 100 square feet hut for himself with very limited possessions. In this hut, Chomei starts his life as a hermit. The hut was compact and built in a way that made transportation easy in the event he felt the need to move. Along the south wall of the hut, he raised a small awning over a bamboo mat. To the west, there was a shelf for offerings and an image of Amida Buddha. On the north side, 3 or 4 leather-lined baskets on a shelf. The baskets contained Chomei's poetry and music, along with various writings. Next to all of that were his musical instruments, his biwa and koto. Along the eastern wall, he laid out dried bracken for bedding and had a writing desk near it. Chomei found great contentment in escaping society and joy in his new lifestyle. He found himself with more peace in his mind and was able to enjoy the grace of nature more, and beautifully captures the change of seasons. In the spring, wisteria flowers bloom like purple clouds in the west. In the summer, the chattering cuckoos guide me toward the mountain pass of death. On autumn evenings, the cries of cicadas fill my ears, lamenting this empty husk of a world. And when the winter comes, snow covers the earth. It settles just like the human sin, and melts in atonement. Chomei also describes how much he appreciates the simple life he leads in the hut. But nothing happens here, in my little hut. Small as it is, there is room to sleep at night, and sit by day. Space enough for one man. Living this secluded, simple life gave Chomei a sense of calm, and felt that he was finally freeing himself from attachment. I wish for nothing, and do not work to acquire things. Quiet is my only wish, to be free from worry, happiness enough. Content and peace in his mind, he was fully embracing his life as a hermit. Chomei was finally free from human desires and damaging attachments. He was no longer strangled by indecent desires like all the others still residing in the capital city. Or so he thought. In the end of Hojoki, Chomei expresses that although he decided to lead a secluded life away from society in order to practice Buddha's teachings on impermanence, attachment, and desire, he still found himself falling short of those practices. He tried to practice detachment, but got attached to his hut. He attempted to free himself of all desires, yet he continued to desire peace and quiet. He meditated on impermanence, but desired for his serene lifestyle to last. This ending is both comforting and unsettling to the readers, while having an immense sense of self-doubt shows Chomei's honest and human qualities, making him very relatable. Finishing the entire work in this manner leaves a rather uneasy feeling in the reader. But perhaps this is the beauty of Hojoki. While a lot of distinguished literature of the past illustrates the struggles of human life and existence, this level of candor to end a work is perhaps quite rare. Chomei acknowledging that he never found the true answers to questions of life, even after making drastic changes to his lifestyle, leaves us all asking ourselves a myriad of questions. The moon of my life is setting. The life now left me sinks into the hills. Any time now, I may descend to the darkness of the river below. To what end do I pour this out? Buddha taught we must not be attached. Yet the way I love this hut, is its self-attachment. To be attached to the quiet and serene must likewise be a burden. No more time shall I waste speaking of useless pleasures. The morning is quiet, and I have meditated much on the holy teaching. This is what I ask myself. You left the world to live in the woods, to quiet your mind, and live the holy way. But though you appear to be a monk, your heart is soaked in sin. Is your lowly life surely a consequence of past deeds troubling you now? Has your discerning mind just served to drive you mad? To these questions of mine, there is no answer. So now, I use my impure tongue to offer a few prayers to Amida, and then silence. Thank you for watching.